Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Legendarium podcast. I am Craig Hanks, your host. That's my host voice, Ryan. Ryan has his own voice.
Frequently, yes.
Every time we put you in front of the microphone and give you a line, you sound like yourself if it's just like, I'm just going to talk. But if we give you a line, it comes out sort of vaguely British, but not really.
I don't know what you're talking about in the least.
He came from the George Lucas school of how to elocute.
And that's Todd. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you.
And next to him is Kenn.
Which beats my radio recapper voice I've heard, so.
I don't know. It's pretty much the same.
I know.
So, yeah, I do love that Kenn's shot is nice and blocked by the microphone stand there. So people watching on YouTube are going to be like, oh, thank goodness.
As I was going to say, as they prefer. So.
All right. So today, as you can tell already, this is a different episode. This is a let's let our hair down episode a little bit.
Some of us have. Some of us have already let it down.
My hair has let me down.
So
people can actually see that joke now.
Yeah. We're spinning the wheel of tangents, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that we've spun the wheel of tangents as kind of the core Legendarium group.
Yeah.
Is this right?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna be going through Kenn and Todd. You're gonna be our spinners. Ryan, you're gonna sit there.
Yep.
While I run
what I do best,
the tech. So it should be fun. Before we actually start spinning the wheel, I should explain. Well, I'll explain what the wheel is in just a moment. But I should also tell people to go to thelegendarium.com, go check out previous episodes if you want to search things by author, listen to some of the older stuff that we've done. And you also have links there to our Discord server. There is a permanent link. The Discord server is free to join. It's open for everybody. All that we ask is when you do join, just be wary of spoilers, be kind, and don't get political. And do those things and keep it a really, really fun place. It's a wonderful space. So come hang out on Discord, and also go to what's that thing called? Patreon.com/Legendarium, which is where you can go support the show. More on Patreon at the end of the show. I'll save what I have to say about Patreon for those who actually, stick around till the end of the show. So yeah, I'll have more to say about that a little bit later. But today, the Wheel of Tangents. So the Wheel of Tangents, if you're new to the show or newish to the show, this is something that we have done quite a bit in the past, but gotten away from it in the last few months. Life found a way to get us off of the Wheel of Tangents. So,
did you listen to our Jurassic Park episode?
No.
Oh,
yeah.
That's okay. I don't think we said it then, but it was said there a lot. Did we say it a lot?
Recaps find a way.
Oh, there, you're right. You're right.
Anyway, so the Wheel of Tangents is... Kenn, why don't you hold the wheel up for us so that those watching on YouTube can actually see it? The Wheel of Tangents is a delightfully repurposed Lazy Susan from IKEA. And we've got 16 prompts that we can go through, and we're going to get through as many of them as we can. So...
Random.
What I need you to do, Todd, is underneath that Lazy Susan, you'll see a bottle opener. Yep. You're going to flip that. Heads is the side with the writing on it. Tails is the side without it. Heads is 1 through 8. Tails is 9 through 16. Okay? So we're going to spin the wheel. Many of these questions we came up with ourselves. Many of them I actually pulled from Discord from like a year or more ago.
Wow.
So there are some deep cuts from people who have been waiting for a long time to get their questions answered. And hey, maybe we won't even get to them. Wouldn't that be fun? All right, so Todd, I want you to flip first. Go for it. Let's see what we... All right, it's heads. Now spin. Okay, we're spinning the wheel, and it comes up on number 2. Question number 2. All right, you'd think I'd be ready for this. All right, number 2. A movie that would make a good amusement park ride. A movie...
Oh, we talked about this one.
That would make a good amusement park ride. I'm happy to go first, but I don't think you guys want me to. So, who wants this one first?
Well, I think the clear answer is the Dune sandworm ride.
Okay. Is this just like a roller coaster?
Yeah, a roller coaster, maybe a trackless roller coaster. I don't know how you can. Since we're hypothesizing anyway, why don't we just throw out technology that doesn't exist, like the trackless roller coaster, for example. But yeah, you get on your sandworm and you go through the desert, as it were.
And it's designed to
be,
blow sand in your face for the next 15 minutes.
Why not? It could be a hyper real. I mean, you've got heat blowing at you and sand abrading your face and
cinnamon blowing in the air the entire time.
Absolutely. It would be a blast.
I think I'm on board.
Yeah.
Ryan, do you have any answer for this one?
The problem I have is that I keep looking at ones like, that would, nope, already a ride. Dang it. Already an experience. Dang it. I was like, because my initial thought was, okay, well, what about Tron?
Yep, that was my first thought too.
Tron could be you could have, if I did it as a full experience, not just a single amusement park ride.
Yeah.
Tron has a lot of potential in it. There is a light cycle ride roller coaster that's currently in Shanghai.
And coming to Orlando.
So, but,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, Todd, did you get your say?
No, I did not. Mine, yes, I want to.
Okay.
Mine, but it would be an old movie. It would be Force 10 from Navarone. Okay. You would have to go. You would have to go onto a B-29. You would have to fly through flak and anti-aircraft, and then you would have to parachute safely. Oh yeah, this could be something that really worth doing.
That could be something.
I can hear every lawyer in the crowd going, no, that can't. That's not a no. Oh boy, the insurance on that. Oh, no. Okay, so
and the barf bags.
My response to that is none. I don't like themed rides very much.
Oh,
generally speaking, there are exceptions to that, but most of the time it's like the light cycle ride, at wherever it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster.
It is.
It's not a light cycle thing. What I kind of have this thing where I'm like, if you're going to do it right. And we don't have light cycles. That's not a thing, right? And so just build me a roller coaster. I love roller coasters, whatever. Like I said, there are exceptions to that. The Indiana Jones ride is fun.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day at Universal Hollywood, they had Waterworld, which is a terrible movie, pretty fun little show that they had.
Yeah.
Right. It was a show, not so much a ride. It's an experience like you guys are talking about.
They still have it.
Oh, is it still going?
Still going.
Okay.
Well, pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And then the other one that they had that I enjoyed was Backdraft.
That one was awesome.
That would be
where
cool.
it was like, as a movie, no, it's not very good. But as an experience, it was great as a kid to, you're sitting 85 feet away from this spurt of flame and the heat just
but you're still feeling
blows
it.
you away.
Yeah.
So, there, like I said, there are a couple exceptions, but like when I think about my favorite movies or books or whatever, and then I think about it being turned into a ride, it just seems so lackluster. And so I none. N-A, not applicable.
All right.
Okay.
You can't go on my sandworm ride.
I didn't ask.
Wait.
I definitely did not ask to ride your sandworm, Ken.
It didn't work on my girlfriend in college either.
Okay.
I'm sure it didn't.
All right. Ken, no, Todd, flip the bottle opener.
Yep.
Let's see what we got.
If
All
only
right.
there
Tails,
was a
Ken, spin.
spherical or round object that had two sides that could be flipped.
All right.
Two on the B side.
Two on the B side. That's number 10. You have to convert a book series into a sitcom. What series are you choosing? Who came up with this? Whose was this?
I did.
That was you. You didn't even tell us.
Just wrote it in. I think there's two in there that I just wrote in. Like, let's see how they handle this.
A book series into a sitcom?
I got an answer for this, but you go first.
If you have an answer,
Ryan, this is your question.
You go first.
What? Yeah, this is all you.
A book series into a sitcom. You could easily do a bunch of. We've talked about like buddy cop shows, spinoffs, things like that of characters in Mistborn or any of things like that. I don't know, but I didn't even come up with a good answer to my own question.
How dare you? I already have a good answer to your question.
Okay.
It's a single book, actually. I think there were more books later, but in this case, it's a single book. It's the book that we read with Veronica Roth. Do you recall?
Oh, yes. Dark Lord of Dirkholm.
Correct.
Yes, that
Yeah.
was great.
That would be a good sitcom. So for those who haven't read the book, you should go read the book and go listen to the episode. It was probably, 50, 75 episodes ago, something like that.
Search Dark Lord of Dirkholm.
Dark Lord. Yeah, if you search Dark Lord of Dirkholm podcast on Google.
We're the number one.
Yeah, exactly. somehow we nabbed the number one result on
If
that
only
one.
we can get Alta Vista next.
So that's my pick. I think that would be hilarious. It's kind
That
of
would be a good
already
one.
built that way a little bit with the goofy characters and the insane plot. So there you go. Anybody else?
Does it have to be the sitcom just in general? So it doesn't have to follow a particular. Doesn't have to be the Disney one where
Don't
we're going to
think
learn
too
a
much.
morality
Stop
or anything
thinking,
like
Todd.
that.
Stop.
Butcher's Dresden Files. They tried to make it into a drama series. That didn't work so well, but I think as a comedy series, it would work really well.
Okay. So would this be in the mold of like a Supernatural or something where it's like there is some drama, there's some adventure, but it's funny. It's like
I was
built
thinking more to
comedically?
be like Friends, where there's some drama, there's some comedy, but they follow this through for long periods of time. It's a long play about the relationships, and it's all of the things that are not happening in the books, but are happening outside of the books. So we're seeing.
We never see him go out on an adventure. It's always when he comes home and takes off the duster and walks in. And it's like, all right.
It's when he's playing D&D with the alphas. It's when he's having arguments with some of the different characters. When he and Butters are doing their training stuff. Oh yeah,
Mr.
all of the other
scratched up the
stuff.
cat or the couch again. Mister.
The thing that prompted this question is actually, I just watched MODOK. It hit Hulu.
Oh,
Okay.
And it was they took a character and turned it into kind of a comedy piece, and it
Turned him into a
really
punchline.
good, really good. I enjoyed it. So
Okay. Well,
Which
shall
MODOK was a ridiculous character in the comic books anyway.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
shall we spin again?
spin.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
didn't have anything, Ken? All right.
Ken, did you want to go?
well,
Did you have one?
I was gonna say the one I would love to see them try is the Night Angel trilogy.
Oh.
I don't know how they could do it, but I would love to see them try. But that did lead to a more serious answer. I think the Lies of Loch Lamora could be mined as comedic. I mean, there's plenty of misadventure and stuff in that.
It's definitely
That could
it's
be
funny, but it's
Funny-ish.
it's not. It's
there's
not.
plenty
That's not very sitcom funny though.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I
I don't
mean,
know.
no laugh track underneath it necessarily, but it could be mined for laughs.
So would this
I
be
feel
like the Lies of Loch Lamora, and it's got the interviews like on The Office or Modern Family or
Oh,
something?
that would be good. Yeah,
the documentary version.
something
one
like
of
that. Jean talking about, okay, I didn't really want to hit him in the head, but he really didn't leave me much choice.
I could actually see Loch Lamora being filmed being made as kind of like an Ocean's 11 type thing where you've got the voiceover explaining how we're going to pull off the job.
Yeah.
Like that's plenty funny. It's not a sitcom,
Or
but
more like
it's, something like that.
The Dukes of Hazzard. I don't know.
Okay, let's spin again. All right, here we go. What do we
Heads?
got? Tails?
Heads.
Okay, somebody
Words
spin
up.
now.
I spun last.
Ken, you got one job.
I spun last time.
All right.
5.
Heads 5. I think we already did that one. Did we? No, it's
No,
not.
just the-
Amusement park food you like. Is this another Ryan
There's
original?
got to
What
be
is
a
this?
Ryan.
You were throwing out amusement park stuff, so I was like, here's a quick one we can burn really quick. I like churros. We're done. Move on.
Dole Whip, man.
Has anyone ever braved the deep fried butter? Now,
My heart still beats, so no.
to be clear, we have a lot of listeners outside of the great United States of America. So this might shock people. But yes, there is a thing at fairs, county fairs, state fairs, okay, so maybe we should explain what a fair is for these people. How do you explain a state fair?
I think they know what fairs are.
Okay, fine.
Everybody has a
But it's
version of a
Amusement
fair.
park. Yeah.
Okay, all right. It's a rolling amusement park with carnies, creepy, whatever. It's a whole thing.
And games you can't win.
Yeah.
So
Gypsies.
anyway, but yeah, they deep fry butter. I have never brought myself. It's literally you get a stick, an 8-ounce stick of butter. That is by itself 800 calories. Of
All of them.
almost pure saturated fat.
Yep.
And then they put it in some batter, they deep fry it, they give it to you. I've never touched it. I'm never going to. I'm more of an elephant ear kind of guy. The scones.
Okay.
Or, in America we call them scones, fry bread, whatever. So.
No.
Anybody else?
Deep fried Oreos I have had. And
That sounds good for precisely one deep fried Oreo. Or
So I
maybe
had-
a half of one.
so I had 2, and 1.5 was where I drew the line. It was delightful as long as it was still warm, and as soon as it started to cool, it was really, really, really not worth eating.
Okay. All right.
But I did like it for that 1.5.
Ken, don't let me skip you again.
Give me good old tried and true Dole Whip, man. Although Disney has started to offer the option to swirl your Dole Whip with vanilla ice cream, and that was life changing. Pineapple sherbet swirled with vanilla ice cream. Yeah,
That sounds pretty good.
That's the way to do it.
I have to admit, though, you can't go wrong with popcorn. And if you can get popcorn with a refill that's really, really cheap, then I'm a happy camper for the entire trip.
Well, I'm with Ryan. We should have all just said churros and left it. All right, let's spin again.
That took approximately 2 minutes longer than it
Yeah,
should have.
Exactly. Ryan, I judge you for that question.
You should.
All right.
4 on the B side.
I'm not sure that went all the way around one time. I thought this was
Nobody saw it.
Price is Right
If you don't
rules.
say it, nobody saw it.
All right.
You are allowed to keep one fantasy item or weapon. What do you choose? And if anybody says lightsaber, it doesn't count. That's too cool. Okay. So
All right. Well, you can skip me.
Yeah, I was
You already
kinda
have
thinking
like
the same
7
thing.
of them.
9, but yes.
you have 9 lightsabers. You have 9.
9 that you own. You can't count the ones that Emmett owns.
No, if we counted all of the things that are lightsaber in my house, like including the plastics, but like no, legitimate metal casing, everything there, I believe I'm at 9 on my collection.
Really?
Yeah.
I am
We have
falling
something
behind.
like 16, 17 in the house if you include the plastics. But anyway,
I don't know if you ever knew this, but you're a weird dude.
I'm guilty.
I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm good with myself.
we only have 10, and that was after we bought 4 on this.
10
Yeah.
metal casing.
Oh, no. Metal
okay.
counting the plastics.
Counting the.
And I'm picking up 4 more at the end of the the
Okay, I hate you.
You need help. You need help.
No,
No.
you do need help.
I
I'll come
don't.
with you.
You know what? On that note, please, nobody contribute to Patreon. We don't deserve it. We apparently, as a group, we don't know how to manage our money. Please do not go to patreon.com/legendarium and support the show. Okay.
So lightsabers are out. We have to pick something else.
Be any fantasy object, anything magic. You guys are saying some tool you wanted to carry around with you, whatever.
Okay.
And Ken already said his was the Lasso of Truth, so he stuck with that answer.
Oh no,
That's
nobody
not a
heard
bad
that.
answer. That would be pretty
All the
sweet.
things that were done with the Lasso of Truth. I mean, not just because Aquaman sits on it and then has to tell his feelings.
Yeah, that's not a thing anymore. that has
with
been
the Zack Snyder cut,
memory
we're
hold.
done.
Thank you very much, Todd.
Okay. It'd be a Christ knife from Dune.
What's that?
The tooth of a sandworm that is then, after the sandworm has died, has been broken off and made into a knife for the Fremen to carry. It is naturally poisoned, and just a scratch will kill you.
Okay, wow. So Todd's going dark. So Ryan, besides the lightsaber, you got anything for me?
There's a lot of things I was going through. I'd love a portal gun. I think that would be pretty awesome to be able to kind of set up portals. And
That would be fun.
Instantaneous travel would be great. Thought about Thor's hammer, as long as I could pick it up, I guess. Kind of sucks to get a paperweight.
Especially because once it's there, it's there.
It's there. Yeah.
Get
So-
the paper out from underneath it. That's going
Yeah.
to be a trick.
Ryan is on the right track. He just went with the wrong Avenger. Got to go Iron Man suit.
That would be good. That would be good.
I will take my Iron Man suit and blast you and your lightsaber away from afar. So there you go. All right, let's spin again. All right, what do we got? What number is coming up? This is the exciting radio part where we got heads. Nope, we did that one.
Did that one.
Let's see. What are we at? We're at like 20 minutes. Okay.
Number 3
Number
on
3.
the A side.
Number 3 on the B side.
A side.
A side. Okay, number 3, a book series you've been avoiding as a podcast. Okay.
Okay.
So not necessarily.
This should elicit some response.
Oh yeah, we'll get some.
Yeah, and the thing is, it could be for any reason, you know. So I'll give you one. I actually popped in. I said hello to the Green Team before they started recording their episode today, and you know, we were talking a little bit about Malazan.
Yeah.
I am sure that Malazan is great and it's wonderful and it's all the things, but I am Ryan. What was that?
My head slightly turned from one side to the other in questioning disbelief.
No, I guess I'm sure that it's not so popular for no reason, but
Yes.
I've been avoiding it for the purely spiteful reason that everybody in the world is trying to get us to read it. I don't know quite what it's not like. The problem with Malazan and us reading it on the show is that, and the reason I've kind of dug my heels in a little bit, I really should, you know, let go of that and maybe get into Malazan. But people started bugging us about that when we were on like book 10 or so of the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, you guys need to start, when you're done with this, get to Malazan. And the passion is appreciated and all that, but I was already like, I'm on book 10 of the Wheel of Time. Like, the last thing I want is another giant 10-book series of doorstoppers. And so we got done with the Wheel of Time, and I'm like, I need a break from this sort of thing. And
you
anyway,
still need a break.
So So yeah, that's kind of where that started, and now it's just one of those like kind of stupid. I'm too prideful to let go.
A contrarian moment, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Anyway, so what about you guys?
There are several I've thought about that fit, you know, in our wheelhouse, especially on Blue Team, like
Foundation. Yep.
Which is just, I mean, that's only like 3 books or 4 books, and it's
not that neither of us don't like it. It's not that anybody else in the group doesn't like it. It's that it's one of the, and it's a foundation. It's a foundation piece in the science fiction community, but there is so much going on and so much new stuff going on that it just is one of those where we say, oh, well, you know, there's this new one coming out. You know, we were looking at Red Rising or Foundation. Oh, we took Red Rising.
Yeah, it perpetually gets pushed to the side. It's like, okay, it's time to do Foundation. Oh, but let's do this instead.
In fact,
and then we'll do Foundation. Oh, but this came out.
We were talking about it for this year, and then we said,
and then we started doing Michael
But
Crichton books.
let's do Jurassic Park really quick. Oh, and now we're going to do Timeline.
So and now,
it's one of those deals where we never pull the trigger on it.
Timeline is so good.
Yeah,
it's such a good book.
Having a blast reading through that.
It's been great so far. Yeah. The other one in a similar vein to Malazan is, I think, Laurel Hamilton's Anita Blake series. You know, it's a woman author, which we haven't intentionally shied away from, but we haven't done enough. Anita Blake, Vampire Hunter, you know, but it's like 22 books long, and we just came off of Butcher. I mean,
and spending a year getting caught up on all of the Butcher books so that we were caught up the day that he released the most recent one was fun. And it also was very exhausting.
It's a lot.
Yep.
It's one thing. Yeah. People can probably understand this. It's one thing to read a book or read 20 books. It's another thing to read 20 books and take notes and prep for the show and, you know, try to like have the good conversation about it and all that stuff.
And to find something fresh about the next book that you haven't said about the last 5 books, you know.
And
Anyway, Ryan, any thoughts on this one?
The Bible.
All 66 books of it.
Well, thanks for coming to the Legendarium podcast.
That's twice he's shut this down now.
Oh my goodness!
I'm taking it very seriously, you can tell. Fantasy series I've been avoiding. Song of Ice and Fire.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I'll get to it eventually.
That one, and Harry Potter are ones that, like, by all rights, we should have done these by now.
Yeah.
But I think Song of Ice and Fire, actually, in both of those cases, those ones, in my mind, I've avoided them in large part just because the market is pretty saturated. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want a Song of Ice and Fire podcast or a Harry Potter podcast, go swim in the pool of them. There, you know, there's so many of them out there. And so it's like, okay, so what would we add to the conversation? But, you know, not much. What do we ever add to the conversation, I guess, is a relevant question here. But I don't know. So why in your mind, why have we avoided that one?
Why have we avoided it? Again, it's a larger book series, whatever. We've talked about the saturation, but the other thing is it's not finished. It's sitting right on the edge of being finished, and that's not a requirement for us to read something, but I think we'd be better suited to reading it once the literary end of it is finished.
Yeah.
Well, and not necessarily even finished, but at least give us, an indicator that it will ever be finished.
Yeah, I'm not really. I've kind of gotten to the point I don't care if he finishes it or not because I'm not invested in it the same way other people are.
I have no investment.
And I'm not going to go after an author and be like, you owe me this book because we don't.
Absolutely not. But
I understand the frustration, and when he finishes the series, it will push me probably to actually putting it in and reading it because I've got the audiobook, I've got an ebook version of it. I just have never done it.
I'm almost to the point where I think it might never ever be finished, and I would be content to do it. I haven't read the 5th one, but I've read the first 4.
No.
Well,
Interesting.
There you go. All right, let's spin again. Shall we?
Flip and spin.
Flip and spin. Boy, that sounds wrong.
Like swish and flick.
Okay.
Number
8. Number 8
16.
is...
Number 16.
What?
No, it's
No, that's
it
heads.
is. I'm sorry.
So it's 8.
Okay, so what fictional character would you take to Vegas with you?
I take this one first.
Vegas, baby. All right, Ryan, what do
There
you
is
got?
only one answer to this question.
And that is
Matt Cawthon.
Oh, okay.
Matt Cawthon.
Yeah.
Cawthon?
Sorry, my mouth got a little rounded.
Sorry, I
Matt from Wheel of Time. There is no other answer. If you're going to go into a game of chance, there is nobody you want to take in there better than Matt.
There you go. I mean, that kind of, now that you put it that way, it shuts down every other possible answer here.
Gee,
So-
now that was a waste. Although earlier I did say I'd take Wayne from.
There are people you could have fun
From
with
this
in
board era,
Vegas,
too.
but if you want to win, there's only one person to take.
He's kind of lucky too. I mean, but
I would take.
well, Matt is more lucky than. I mean, if we're gonna.
But here's the thing, Ryan would take Matt Cawthon from book 12. The version of Matt that everybody hates
Sure.
because they say that Sanderson screwed him up.
Right.
Oh, sure.
I'm just messing with you.
I was
All
going to say Qui-Gon Jinn because obviously whenever there's a chance cube involved, he's going to do whatever it takes to make sure that chance cube comes out correctly.
He's going to tell the blackjack dealer that credits will do fine.
Credits will be just fine. And if you take Qui-Gon Jinn, you have to take Obi-Wan Kenobi. So when somebody comes up and says, you want to buy some death sticks? He says, you don't want to sell me death sticks. I don't want to sell you death sticks.
Are
Qui-Gon's
we
the one to take off
approvingly quoting movie number 2, Attack of the Clones? Is that what's happening right now?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, the first one was from the Phantom Menace. Qui-Gon Jinn was the best character to come out of any of the expanded stuff, and it's not even disputable. And it's
what?
very much can
That's
dispute
yeah.
that.
he was the best. And it's sad that he only lasted one movie.
It was fun to hear Kenn try to like really assert something.
No,
It's so
he was
poorly.
the coolest. He was the best.
Okay, so sorry, Ryan, were you going to say something else?
Nope. Gonna just let it go. Just gonna let it go.
Do I'm not even sure I have an answer to this. Who would I take to Vegas? You know who I might take to Vegas is maybe like a dragon, where like nobody's gonna mess with me. It's like, no, I did win that hand. You know, like says Strabo the dragon from Terry Brooks series, or like what's that, the Aragon books? Well, I don't care. Just give me a dragon. I don't care which dragon.
Ripping up the MGM
Yeah,
brand.
give me Smaug. Yeah, he'd be great. So, see, that's one where it's appropriate to round that, Smaug.
Oh, okay. Smaug.
Cawthon.
Smoog.
That's all right. We're flipping again. Flip and spin. Heads. Number 2. We already did number 2. What are we on? 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Character from a book you'd like to play in a D&D adventure. Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, you get to bring... So wait, are you bringing a character on this journey with you, or are you that character? You're playing as that character in a D&D campaign?
I think either or it would be appropriate for this particular question.
Okay.
And I know who I would take.
And who's that?
I would take Wax.
Okay.
Because all of the things that we can do with metal objects and the way that he does it from a distance and the way that he is able to, because of the kind of character that he is, he's my guy.
Okay.
We said this is a book series character.
Yeah, what was this? Oh,
Or is it
D&D
just
campaign.
Fictional.
Yeah, any
Or just
fictional character? Yeah, what do you have anybody?
No, I was just thinking like, well, if you're taking wax, why don't you just take Magneto if you're all about some metal bending thing, whatever. Like,
Because Magneto is like, he's a megalomaniacal crazy person. I mean, that's not whack.
Yeah, that's what the
Okay.
propagandists want you to believe.
Okay,
Todd.
thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Mutant rights.
Anybody else that we've got that we can think of?
my problem isn't like that I have a single character that I really want to take this one character. It's just like I can picture any character in that scenario type thing. Like, yeah, great, I'll take Kaladin and his level 37 brooding. Like, I'm solid with that. Like, I'm good. I'll play that. That's fine.
Yeah. My character sits solemnly. Oh, you think so? Roll for initiative. Okay. Let's see what you can come up with. You rolled a 2? Okay, you got it.
Critical fail. You sit there and cry.
Yeah.
The best part, of course, about playing any of these characters in a D&D adventure is that when we're reading the books, the author has written them so that everything goes right. But if you've played D&D, you know that 1s and 2s happen a whole lot more frequently than the 20s and 22s that we wind up seeing these characters wind up getting in the book adventures. I seem to remember Clark rolling a 1 and impaling himself on an adventure that we took.
Yeah.
So
That was pretty good.
Let's
you ever
be
danced with the
fair.
devil and-
Just because we could take them doesn't mean that it would work out very well for any of them.
Yeah.
I would probably take Boromir.
Okay.
This is something that we don't see as much in the movies. We see it in like one scene in the movies. But Boromir, total badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super hardy. He would roll very high. You know, he'd have all the pluses. Up on down the line.
Human fighter.
So
He'd be awesome.
yeah, I'd take Boromir with me. There you go. All right, flip and spin.
Ken didn't get his.
I got too many. I mean, I like the Ranger characters. That's good enough for me.
Stop doing heads, Todd.
I know.
Okay, it's 6. We just did that one.
7.
7.
Seven.
Wow.
There we go.
Okay. All right.
Go,
Wow.
color me surprised.
Okay. Number 7. You have to start dressing like a character from a series you've read. Okay. So this is mine. I came up with this one. I'm not proud of it, but I did it. It's today. You're grocery shopping. You're going to church. Whatever it is that you do on a daily basis. But your wardrobe now consists of the wardrobe of any character or people from a series that we have covered. So, what do you got, Ryan?
That we've covered, like it's.
Yeah, something we've covered. You could go outside of it, but yeah, I figure.
There's plenty that are. You'd get some odd glances, but I already get that anyway. So I'm like. I would probably do Mistborn Era 2 is basically just Western. I'd be a cowboy walking around. Like,
Dang it.
Right.
I should have gone first because I wanted to dress like Wax. I mean, it's like,
you can do that. Personally, I would not dress like that. I would love to be the ridiculous person wearing, the crazy mage outfit from the Shannara series or anything like that.
Right.
I would wear shard plate around.
So my answer is this is pretty easy, honestly. I'd be a hobbit, because then I wouldn't even have to change when I do my Professor Craig videos. I'd already have the waistcoat with the brass buttons.
you
And
wouldn't have to
the
worry
pipe.
about shoes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, hobbit. You're basically a late 19th century English, landed gentleman, right?
Or pauper, depending on which direction you're looking at, because late 19th century English paupers dressed about the same as well. I would go either
What? Okay,
yeah.
go on.
waistcoats and no shoes. There you go. I would either take Adolin's wardrobe, because it just sounds so much fun, or my
would get
Jedi
the looks.
robes, and I'm on my way.
I thought he was going to say or Shallan's wardrobe.
Obviously, you know me far less than you think.
You keep that safe hand covered, young man.
Cosmere wise, it'd be cool if you could take clothing from Warbreaker that's been like with breath and things like that. That would be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
there you go.
Okay.
Until it choked you to death.
All right. We've already flipped and it's tails. All right. So what do we got next, Ken?
1.
Number 2. I got 2.
We did 2 already.
We did 2. Okay. Number 1. You are given full creative license to write and direct a Star Wars film or series. Pitch what you would like to see. Is this another Ryan
Yep,
original?
this is my other one.
Okay. So
Ryan has to go first.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
You smelt it, you dealt it.
Okay. I want to follow more into the either going back into the High Republic era and start doing some of that into video stuff, or jump it way down the line the other direction and see what Force users look like 1,000 years after this has happened.
That could be fun.
Okay.
But yes, it's going to be Force user based. I'm not just going to go bounty hunter. I'm not going to do that. Force user based.
Okay.
I would just want to modify. I'd want to modify the original prequel trilogy, consolidate it, make episode 1 about 20 minutes long, and make episodes 2 and 3.
You have a chance to do anything you want, and you just want to refix. You just want to fix.
I just want to fix George Lucas's mistakes.
No.
If I had to create something, I would love to see a squadron-based movie. I know that they had talked once upon a time about making like a Rogue Squadron movie. You know,
in the works.
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins is directing.
Yeah, and I would love to do something like that. I don't know what vision she has, but I think that would be a blast to do. You know, fighter jocks in space. So
Jocks
we'll see.
in space.
We'll see if she makes my vision come true.
Okay.
I want to follow Kanan from the time that Order 66 occurred to the time that he meets Hera,
That'd be cool.
and follow that as a limited series, and then maybe get the opportunity to do the same kind of thing, but with other characters along the way. See what makes them develop.
Cool.
Dave Filoni, if you're listening, Kevin Feige.
You're available.
I just want just creative consultant. That's all I want. You guys do all the tough stuff. Let me just be on set.
I don't know the extended the canon as well now as I did when I was a teenager, right? So I'm struggling to kind of come up with anything interesting. This isn't like a Kenn fixing the prequel trilogy, but if I can like supersede the sequel trilogy and just do the Timothy Zahn books, adapt those into a 7, 8, and 9 trilogy, I think they'd be really good.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go. This is the best I got. Sorry, it's not very good. It's not a great answer. All right, what else we got? Oh, it's Tails again. Wow. Okay. All right. Number 3. Man, we're not getting to any of the listener ones. You guys suck at spinning.
Hold on.
Hey.
Oh, number 8.
There we go.
Okay, Kiptan once asked.
Once upon a time.
Kiptan asked us to talk about the importance of and the use of distance in science fiction and fantasy. What does the speed of travel mean in world building? From instantaneous portals to warp speed to horses, what does each method do for the people in the world with them? I love this question. I included this one for a reason. Not because I have a great answer for it, but it's one of those things where like a new author will run into this problem all the time, right? They spend all this time building this giant world, and it spans 2 continents, and it's this and that. But then it's like, oh crap, my characters are on opposite sides of a continent. They can't just interact, in one chapter and then be somewhere else in the other chapter. Like how do you fix this? And I don't know. In fantasy, it's portals, right? So Rand opens up a portal or whatever. In science fiction, it's faster than light travel. I don't know, Todd. I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on this one. Do you want to start off on this?
I do, and I'll try and not make it the E11 Blaster recap from 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I have 2 thoughts. One of them's fantasy based, and one of them's science fiction based. But they really accomplish the same thing. In the Belgariad, we follow our party as they traverse the entire world, and they point out the things that they are seeing as they go. So it gives a chance for the author to really give us a full description of the world, but it also gives us an opportunity for the characters to have conversations to fill those in and to help us understand not only who those characters are, where they've come from, but also how they interact with different areas. So that's one way where time and distance, especially traveling in a manner that is not necessarily instantaneous from one spot to another, but he spend the time and illustrate the fact. In fact, I think at the end of the second Belgariad, or the second of the series from the Belgariad era, they were in winter for an entire year. And they talked about how hard it was to have been in this kind of a situation. So it gave an opportunity to explore lots of different themes. In sci-fi, we saw The Expanse. We did The Expanse recently, where we saw them talk about the fact that it would take weeks or months to get from place to place. And these characters then had to deal with each other in very mundane kinds of situations, but it gave us an opportunity to see how characters could change over that period of time without necessarily having it be all of a sudden out of the middle of nowhere. No, they spent weeks trying to deal with some of the problems and issues, and then they finally get to it when we see it, and they illustrate the time. I'm fascinated by it, and I love it, and it's really, really fun when we don't use the trope of faster than light travel or immediate transportation.
Right.
Use the time. It's fun.
So let me go back to the Wheel of Time, and we're not getting into spoilers. It's not a spoiler to say that, magic is used in the Wheel of Time. But I'll keep this vague because Todd hasn't read it yet. So,
Nope, but I'm going to.
Everybody
2024.
listening. Yeah.
2024.
That's adorable. Okay, so in the Wheel of Time, in the first book, we've got to hoof it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
We got to go from here to Camelin and then over to the Blight, whatever. There's a lot of walking, and that's book one comprises a lot of that. And it's kind of exactly what Todd just talked about. It gives us a chance to see these different places and really kind of like to get the dirt under our toes, in this world, right? And then in book two, they discover a little piece of magic, and it's the portal stone. Is that what it's called, Ryan?
Yeah. Close enough.
What is it?
I don't remember. I'm just saying it's close enough.
Okay, all right.
Plus they find the ways.
The ways and the portal stone. So there are these things that they can do to kind of to get places a little quicker. Now that we've seen this, we've been on this road. We don't need to do that again. So he invents this piece of magic for them to rediscover and get there a little quicker. But then that doesn't work all the time, and so they are still doing a lot of walking in books 2 and 3 and in book 4, and eventually they discover instantaneous travel. Once we've seen all this huge world, we've already walked all over it. We've sailed, we've walked, we've done river boats and all this stuff. And then he's finally just like, all right, we can't spend the entire series walking everywhere. So he invents another piece of magic to help them get quickly there. Anyway, and so it was it's a fun little way for Robert Jordan to get your feet dusty and then not make you go through that for all 15 books.
Yeah, by that.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, anybody else have any other thoughts on this subject?
I think it also inspires one of the things that inspired multiple POV books and stuff like that, where you have a whole chapter devoted to one character like Rand, and then you have another chapter devoted to Matt, where they can be in separate areas. And while you're over here with character A, character B and his party can be traveling wherever. So you don't have to spend several chapters with them as they travel. You can be over here with this character who's doing stuff while that party travels.
Sure.
Then you can get to characters as they are doing things rather than wasting time. I'm not necessarily wasting. I mean, you can use it for whatever, but while they're spending time traveling, you can be over here doing something interesting.
Yeah.
Sure. That sort of thing.
Maybe I can take this in a little bit different direction, where it's not about the methods of travel necessarily, but just travel in books, period. Going to different destinations and whatnot. And this is something I've been thinking about for some reason. It's not like I reread the books recently or anything, but I've had a couple conversations about Harry Potter, and how in the first 6 books, we see different locations. We go to Hogsmeade, obviously, Harry's uncle's house, whatever. There are different locations, but it's Hogwarts. You're in Hogwarts, and the adventures take place in and around Hogwarts. And so there's really not much traveling going on. And book 7 always fell flat for me in a lot of ways. There are things I like about it, that I'm not saying it's bad or whatever, but compared to the rest of the series, it always fell flat for me. And one of the things that always drove me crazy was we went from a static series to the last book where they're just going everywhere all the time, constant traveling, different locales, and in a different series, that's fine. But we spent all this time, rooted in one place and learning to love this one place as readers, not just the characters. And then suddenly it's like, ugh, why am I out on the road? What's going on back at Hogwarts? I want to go back to Hogwarts, whatever. Anyway, so travel, I guess, is it a book or a series that should have travel? Consider that before you put it in.
Yeah, that's interesting. You with some series, with the Expanse, for example, you have to have travel because all of
space.
It's
because
called the
all of
Expanse
this
for a reason.
is about all of these different locales, and the acceptance that we have that we are limited by certain kinds of assumptions, certain kinds of physics, makes it required. So think it through very carefully. Make sure that you're very clear about it. In another series where it doesn't need to be there, that's probably a really good question for an author to ask, and for us as readers to be able to say, I wonder.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Shall we?
Sure.
Spin again.
We shall.
Let's see what we got. Okay, number 7 or number 15, whatever. All right, this one is from Colonel Rabbit, who once upon a time asked for best combat writers and scenes and why you like them. You guys talk a decent amount about, that was some good punching in whatever, but it would be interesting to see favorites and comparisons. So who does the fighting well? Ryan, I haven't heard from you for a while.
I will say, sorry, I was distant and traveling during that sequence. One we haven't covered yet, but I have read and I did enjoy. Brian McClellan in the Powdermage series. Actually, it's a little bit different take, and it's a different magic system, but it affects specifically the combat because the magic has been turned to combat. Specifically, and I think it's a very interesting and unique way of handling it, and I thought he handled it well. Ones that we've done that I've really liked, also still Brent Weeks, who I think did a lot of his stuff in Night Angel and Lightbringer, really well done.
The action scenes, yeah. With the Brian McClellan thing, we haven't read that yet. I haven't read it yet. I actually have whatever the trilogy is. I can't even remember. Powdermage. I have the Powdermage Trilogy, 2 copies of it. 2 copies of it.
Good thing we have it on video now.
Yeah, exactly.
What was it?
I accidentally held up 3 fingers for those listening. I have 2 copies of it, and I haven't gotten to it yet. But that's interesting, and I like that because it's very human. This idea that so you have this thing, technology, whatever, magic, maybe this thing that we come up with immediately gets weaponized, right? Mm-hmm. There's this whole thing going on with COVID and the Wuhan lab. Did it actually come from the lab? And everybody's like, oh man, China's out there trying to, kill the world. And it's like, no, not necessarily. But, in the course of studying viruses, somebody is going to be like, oh, you know what? You could weaponize that, and you can understand. Like, that's human nature. We just do that all the time.
It's a running joke in a lot of media and stuff like that. Scientist develops incredible thing. Military says, can we put a gun on it?
Right. Yeah. That's, I just recently rewatched Iron Man 2, which wasn't as bad as I remembered. It's not great, but it's not as bad as I remembered. And that was the thing. When they built the War Machine, it was, what's his name, walked by and said, yes.
Rhodey.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
Rhodey goes by and says, yeah, I'll take it. And he says, which one? All of them. Figure out a way to put all these guns on the suit. It's a great little scene. But that's kind of... That's it, right? Oh, we have magic. How can we kill people with it?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's interesting. Anybody else?
I honestly think Brandon Sanderson has done a great job of. I'm trying to think. I don't really have any examples of his progression through his writing of how he's evolved as a action writer, but I remember that a lot of his action is rooted in his rules for his worlds.
Right.
Which I think makes a fantastic fight possible. The reason that there are some, I'm not meaning to pick on J.K. Rowling, but I'm going to pick on J.K. Rowling a little bit. A lot of the fights in the Harry Potter world are just, here's a spell, there's a spell. And the magic system is so nebulous that you can kind of just do whatever. And Brandon's rules make it so that he has to actually come up with creative and inventive ways for these to happen. I'm thinking specifically in the going back to Mistborn Era 2, where Wax and Wayne, they have to use creative ideas to use their powers, to make their powers work, to put them in situations where they can get an upper hand. And he shows the thought processes along those actions, which I think is fantastic. Part of what makes a good action sequence, in my opinion, is the sense that the protagonist really is in danger of losing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that Brandon has shown, at least not in his main characters, but he's shown that some of his secondary characters are not safe. So you could lose them. And going back to staying with Era 2, you can see that there are real stakes involved in those. So,
Todd, any thoughts?
I do. One of them is an author that we haven't read and probably never will, and the other is an author that we have read. And they're not about so much the person-to-person combat, but combat on different levels. Jack McKinney, who wrote the Robotech novels, which are fast reads, and if you saw the anime from the late 80s, early 80s, yeah. I was in high school. I can't remember.
I wasn't born yet.
Wow. Thank you so much for the reminder.
Sorry.
Yes, if the gray hair wasn't enough of an indication. Oh, wait, I still have hair. Sorry.
Okay.
That was rude.
Nope, it's okay, Todd.
I'll pay for that one later in so many ways, I'm sure.
My hair, what little I have will still be here when you're long gone.
At least for 20 extra years. Jack McKinney in the Robotech novels did a magnificent job, in my opinion, of writing the aerial combat that the fighter jocks were going through. He was very specific about the kinds of controls, about the things that they had to think about. He even went so far as to use descriptions of different kinds of aerobatic fighting techniques. And when they would be employed and why they would be employed. It was really, really well done and very educational, I thought, if you were interested in being a fighter pilot. The other one was Campbell, Jack Campbell, with the Lost Fleet series and all of the space warfare that was going on with these huge fleets flying past each other at relativistic speeds. And they turn all of the controls over to the computers to watch to let the computers fire everything. You're not firing the cannon while you're there. You set it up, and then hopefully the computers make it all work because you pass each other that fast, and how much damage happens.
That was so cool to read.
It was fun, wasn't it?
That was a fun series. Ken, I am not with you on the rolling thing. Was that you that said that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not with you on that. I think I like the whole just throw a spell at him. Like, what would you do if you had an infinite gun in your pocket? You'd use it, right? And so of course they're just flinging spells at each other.
Well, it's not necessarily the flinging of the spells, but I can respectfully disagree.
Okay, all right, fine. So is it okay just once this episode for me to go to Tolkien? I've got Tolkien. So if we're talking about punching fight scenes and whatnot,
surprised it's taken this long.
I think he does them very well. And what he doesn't do is the blow by blow of some of the people that we've talked about. Mm-hmm. But let me just read the end of chapter 5 in The Return of the King, book 4, I want to say. I can't remember. Book 5 or book 6. I can't remember. I think it's book 5. Anyway, so this is when the riders of Rohan appear at Minas Tirith, and then they ride down the forces of Mordor. And so Theoden is leading the charge with his Rohirrim. And it says, for morning came, morning and a wind from the sea, and darkness was removed, and the hosts of Mordor wailed, and terror took them, and they fled, and died, and the hoofs of wrath rode over them. And then all the host of Rohan burst into song, and they sang as they slew, for the joy of battle was on them, and the sound of their singing that was fair and terrible came even to the city. That's the end of a chapter, and it is so baller. Like this guy, we've talked a lot about series that are very zoomed in, very character focused or plot focused or whatever. And Tolkien was writing an epic, and he wrote like it.
Yeah.
And there's something about that where it's, I don't know, it's fiction, and it's nice sometimes to to get away from the horror of war and the horror of battle, which are valuable to know about and valuable to read about and all that stuff. But sometimes it's like, good got on its horse and rode over evil, and that's kind of awesome too.
Yeah.
So
I'll buy that.
I like the way that he did that. So, all right. Do we have time for one more, if we make it fast? Okay, number 6. Number 14. This is from Cody Lloyd. Okay, this is a good one to end on because it has nothing to do, well, probably, I guess we'll see, nothing to do with science fiction or fantasy. Oh. Cody Lloyd asked us, and I don't think we ever got to this with Jim Butcher. This was for our Jim Butcher episode, I think, or it might have been Brent Weeks. What is... Where did it go? Oh, what would be the most absurd feature of your dream house? The most absurd feature of your dream house. I just saw a TikTok that Kiptan shared. I don't use TikTok, but when Kiptan shares something on Discord, I go check it out. And it was somebody who had constructed a mechanized rolling Hobbit door. And so it had kind of the swirly metalwork that you'd see, like, kind of that elven metalwork, those patterns or whatever. And it was all on rollers. And so the door would roll into, it wouldn't open like on a hinge. It would roll like a cave door or something. It would roll away.
Like a mechanized pocket door.
Inside it had the all that metalwork, that elven metalwork. And it was on rollers inside. So as the door rolled, the pattern changed and shifted, and they had like stained glass in there, and it was ridiculous and gaudy and, just horrifyingly me. Right? So it was, I would hire whoever that was to come put that in my dream house.
Okay.
Anybody else got one?
It's not really anything gaudy or eccentric, but I've always wanted a house that has secret passageways.
Nice.
Like if I can custom build a mansion, I want secret passageways that I can pop up in other parts of my house.
So this be like servants' corridors, kind of like in old British houses?
Yeah, but finished in a way that it's not a murder, death, horror film.
I'm sorry, but you can't say secret corridor in my house without it eventually looking like a murder hallway, right? Yeah. That is literally impossible.
I guess.
It's baked into the idea.
I just want secret.
That's not to say I don't love the idea. I love the idea. I want secret passages in my rolling door hobbit hole too. So
that's that doorway to look like an art piece, but it opens up the secret passages once you say friend. It's like the Alexa setup. Like you say the right word and it pops it open.
Nice.
There's a bookstore in California, a bookshop in California that has a hallway made of books.
Oh yeah,
you remember what I'm talking about?
It's the last bookstore.
That's what it's called. Yes, thank you.
Been there.
And it's like a swirling, rounded hallway, and I want that in my house.
You can have that in
I don't
your
even
house.
care that I
it's
need that.
Not that tough to do.
I just want somebody to do it for me, and I need a bigger house that has a bigger hallway in order to make that happen. But also, I want a perpetual Dole Whip machine and a Diet Coke machine.
Gosh. Todd?
So a couple of things that my wife and I have talked about a couple of on some different occasions. One of them was a fireman pole that goes from the top floor down to the bottom floor.
Now, does this fireman pole also spin on its y-axis?
No.
Okay. All right. I just wondering what kind of fantasy we're getting into.
Not at all. Not at all.
What poles spin on their y-axis?
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him. It's
barber
just
poles.
Okay.
Yes, barber poles. Yes,
That's what we were
Let's
going
go
with.
with
I
that.
was
Yeah,
like,
let's-
barber
I
poles.
hate to. I know we probably haven't done a lot of pole dancing as a group, but I don't think that they spin on their y-axis.
So fireman pole from the
Okay.
top down to the down.
So
through
me
the
and
different
Ryan
floors.
we're gonna hit up some YouTube after we're done with this episode
Oh,
here.
heaven forbid. The other thing that the other thing that I have that we've toyed with on a couple of different occasions is making a media room that is built after one of the spaceships that we like.
Okay.
And so not sure whether it would be the Enterprise D because the chairs are big and comfortable and just really quite luxurious, or if it would be the passenger area of the Millennium Falcon just because it would be the passenger area of the Millennium Falcon.
That would be pretty great.
I cried when I went through that area in
Disneyland, of course you
this
did.
last. I stopped and I said, and this happened over here, and this happened over here. My wife is like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I came here with you."
That's why I didn't. So, all right, we should wrap this up. You guys good on your?
Yeah, I'm good. This was fun.
Oh yeah.
So, spinning the wheel is always fun, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
It's something we ought to do more often. If we haven't read a book, we're not finished yet, then just pull out the wheel. Let's have a little fun.
it's the life-changing content people have come to really appreciate on Patreon.
Do they air these episodes in Sweden? I'm just wondering. 'Cause-
Only in the prison system.
Okay, just checking.
So speaking of Patreon, I said I was going to say something. This is for those who actually enjoy the show and listen all the way through. I didn't put this at the beginning of the episode, just because I wanted to save it for for our diehards. But with Patreon, I'm going to put the call out there, a very serious call to support the show on Patreon, and here's why. Not only do we put out a bunch of free podcast episodes for you guys, and for those who put the dollars in the tip jar, we really, really appreciate you. But we're also trying to do more on YouTube, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying that. And I actually, we've done well enough with the Legendarium, and I'm doing well enough with other side projects that I have that I just quit my 9-to-5 job. This was a few weeks ago. I am now my own boss, and the Legendarium is a part of how I'm building out my financial life. And so I'm mentioning this to the diehard crowd who actually makes it to the end of episodes, so that I can say, if you've enjoyed the series, if you've enjoyed the podcast for a long time, if you are enjoying what I and Ryan and we are doing on YouTube, I would really, really appreciate $1 in the tip jar for these episodes. Be a great weight off my back. So every little bit helps. I really do appreciate those who have already done so, and hope to have some more people hop on board. Now, that being said, I know that we don't do Patreon correctly, whatever, quote unquote correctly, where we don't go in and give everybody a bunch of, here's this behind the scenes, or this thing that you don't get if you only listen to the free show, partly just because I'm like, no, we want to put our stuff out there. I don't want to put all of our or any of our stuff behind a paywall,
Greg's
right?
already spends so much time on his OnlyFans page that we just don't have the bandwidth to do more Legendarium stuff for the Patreon.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Only in Craig's case, it's called OnlyFan.
Wow.
Just them.
Good one, Ken. You got me.
Tough crowd. Jeez. Wow.
Anyway, so I did want to mention that. What I would love eventually, I'd love for the YouTube channel to get big enough, and for the podcast to get big enough to where it's self-sustaining and I can do this full time. We're not there yet. But that'd be really cool, and you guys can all help with that. It's not just about Patreon and putting that $1 in the tip jar. It's also about sharing out videos if you enjoy them, and hopping on Reddit and Facebook and sharing those things in your groups. That really does help the show. Giving us 5-star reviews on iTunes, whatever. Support the show however you can. It's much appreciated. You guys have any final thoughts before we go? Ryan?
No, I don't
Todd?
think so.
Ken? We're
Enjoy
good?
getting around here.
All right, let's get out. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening if you're on the podcast, and we'll see you next time.